Do it like a
Podcast 116. Chris is mumbling in the background, and I've been trying to get a hold of him for 2 days now.
silly.
He's been sleeping.
Busy over here, man.
Yeah, we're all busy. Not
Prepping.
just you. Not just you. We're all busy.
Prepping.
Except everybody else is busy while you're sleeping. So,
Whatever.
uh, this question came in, or a suggestion from one of
Mm,
the viewers. He sent me a message. I think it was Tuesday, and he wanted us to do uh, a checklist for spring food plot planning that somebody can use as
okay.
like a guide so they can have good
Hmm.
plots. But
All
I
right.
decided to turn it up a notch. So here's what we're going to do. I have a list of a checklist. I sprung this on Chris. He made a quick checklist.
Always.
Okay.
Spring it.
Yes. Yes. So what I want you guys to do is we're going to fire off our checklist back and forth.
Hmm.
But I want the audience to vote on which
You just
checklist.
froze up.
What? Are we recording?
You froze.
I'm frozen.
Okay, there. You're good.
I'm back now.
Yep.
Okay. So
You want the audience to do what?
I want the audience to vote on the
Oh.
checklists.
Hmm.
So in the comments below, whether you're on the audio podcast, Chris's video on YouTube, just vote. It's not going to hurt anybody's feelings, but just say, I like Chris's checklist better, or or I'm sorry, do you like the Blue Smurfs checklist better, or do you like Dave's checklist better? Pick one. Not going to hurt anybody's feelings. Nobody's going to get upset, but I figured we'll get the audience in and just say, hey guys, I like Chris's checklist better, or Dave's checklist better. We're
You
gonna
don't
have
know.
we're gonna have a little competition here.
You don't know
Tim
competition.
Tim's watching. He's laughing again, and I get to go see my buddy Nick this weekend in Snow Hill. We'll cut some more of his trees for him and help him set up his hunting property. So that's what's going on with me. Um, you're mowing stuff already, getting
Take
your some
taking
stuff.
down screening. Yep.
Yep. Well, you saw what I did on Sunday. I removed all my cameras.
You're plotless.
Yep. I removed all my cameras from my farm, collected all that, canceled all the data uh, service with them, and I'm moving on. So that's the uh, that's the plan for today's podcast. So
Good.
I guess why don't you fire off? I'm serious. I want everybody to vote here. Why don't you fire off with your number one on your checklist?
Well, I just did it yesterday. I was removing debris from my plots.
Okay.
Leaf blower, leaf rake, brush hogged, old screening down,
hmm
that type of deal. Yep. Getting ready for prepping.
Okay. So that's your number one.
Yep. Yep. That's the first thing I always do.
Okay. So I'm kind of going to take it on a different direction, which is fine. But I'm going to say if somebody's starting a spring food plot, brand new plot, what do you do? Um, I'm going to say your number one step is to pick the correct location.
Mm.
So you need to find an area on your property that makes sense. And I know it's hard to do because a lot of people have like lease land and stuff, so they can't like sometimes they're limited on the choice that of the area that they have to pick. But if you have the choice, pick an area that's easy to get to, that you can maybe come in off the border of your property or maybe off a road. You can come into the plot if you want to hunt it, and try to keep the plot away from bedding. That way you can kind of have a huntable transition in between the two. But to me, that's the first step is to make sure to pick the correct location.
That's that's a good one when you specify new plot.
Yeah. So
Yep.
what? So what's your number two?
Well, once you if you made sense of that, if you're brand new, like you take Dave's step, and figure out a good spot, you always want to get your soil test done so that you know if it's a good spot yet or not.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
do your soil test. Save yourself some money.
Yep. So that's funny. My number two is soil samples.
Sure.
So that so we agree on that. Soil samples is very important. Um, I like the Whitetail Institute soil samples. I've always used them. Easy to read. I get them on Amazon. I don't know. They're like maybe
Mm,
$14. I don't know if you've bought any of them recently, but
Not
um,
recently.
yeah, I think they're like $14. And you live in PA, so you always use what the
I use Penn State's.
Penn State. Yeah. Is
Yeah.
there any other ones up there that you can get
I
besides
can
that?
I can use the Whitetail Institute or
Hmm.
Penn State.
Okay.
I can get Whitetail Institute over the counter,
Hmm.
or I can just go to my local uh, extension right here downtown,
Hmm.
and I can get them in the office there.
Hmm.
I think they're only 11 for
11
Penn
bucks.
States. Yeah, if I get them at the extension.
Hmm.
If you can find anybody who has them over the counter, they'll charge you 12.
Mm.
So, but they are a little tougher to read, I will admit.
Yeah.
So if you
I'll
are a first timer, go with the Whitetail Institute. I would recommend it.
Yeah,
So
it's hard to beat the Whitetail Institute one.
it
I
is. It
was
is.
I was using the Waypoint for a little while,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't like them at all. It's goofy to read. The only thing I did like about the Waypoint ones was on the form there's a check mark where you can check that will get them to test for micronutrients in their soil sample.
And
I
is that
would
free or you pay extra?
It's like an extra $5.
Yeah, that's how Penn State's is.
Yeah.
They have check boxes you can check
Okay.
off.
But I wish Whitetail Institute would offer that, and they don't.
Mm,
I wish there
okay.
was an option where they could do micronutrients, because yeah, that's a important part of it. As long as
Yeah.
they don't rob the bank on it. I think hopefully they can add it to it. Um,
Yeah. Not bad.
okay, so we agree with that.
Hmm.
What's your number 3 on your checklist?
Well, when you get the soil samples back, you want to amend the soil.
Hmm.
And lime is important at that point because fertilizer is useless if your pH is bad. So
Hmm.
you want to get the lime one and get that amended. Get your pH up as high as you can.
Okay. Funny thing, my number 3 was adding lime,
Oh my,
so we're neck and neck here.
this is
Um,
terrible. This is terrible.
I know it's not working out the way I wanted it to, but I don't know. We're only 3 deep, so we gotta
Yeah.
keep
Well, it's
going
gonna
here.
change here real quick.
Yeah. So, like Chris said, adding lime, very important. So you get your soil sample, add the lime as soon as you possibly can. If it's in a non-wet season slash we're out of the frozen season, I think it's best to disc it in, work it into the soil. Um, that'll help it react a little bit faster. We just use bag lime. That's easier to spread. Um, Chris was able to get a truck that one time, but there's
Mhm.
always a minimum. You got to order a minimum of for them to even come to your property to spread it. So these little mini plots that people are doing, it's probably just best to use bag line.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would agree with that.
All right. What's your number 4?
Well, I actually have two things there.
Hmm.
Um, but if your temperature allows, since we're talking spring, summer, or whatever, um, I said to either spray your foliage and kill off anything that's growing there,
Hmm.
that you don't need, and or if it's already a bare spot and you want to loosen up residue or whatever is there, you could use like a chain drag harrow or something like that and drag it just just the top layer, just scuff it up, rough it up a little bit. So it depends on what you're doing. If it's fresh plot, you may need to spray. If it's already established, you may have to loosen up some residue by dragging or something like that.
Hmm.
Don't even tell
Okay.
me that's what you said.
I'm gonna kill you. So my number 4 is weed control.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
I'm gonna kill you.
but this proves one thing that you know we talk about this on the podcast. We have this podcast, but we're on the same page here, like basically. So we're on we're on the right track here. When we give the information to people, but
Yeah.
uh, yeah, weed control. So what I would do is we're getting into that warm season. Obviously, the plants have
Mhm.
to be actively growing for you to spray, but you have to kill the weeds. I mean, there are options, ways to do it without spraying, and I don't like to use chemicals, but weed control is an important part of it. I mean, you pay for the seed, you want the seed to grow, and you don't want it to be overtaken by weeds, which spring and summer, yeah, you're probably going to have a little bit of weeds, but if you do it the right way, use enough seed per acre and where there's not space to allow the weeds to grow, um, you can have a good plot. But
Mhm.
usually just using glyphosate and 2,4-D to control that, um, you're good to go.
Yepper.
All right. So what is your number 5?
Okay. Now you should always have some moisture in the weather forecast. First of all, if you're planning on seeding, um, I like to use a starter fertilizer with my seed.
Mhm.
So at this point, it's kind of a split thing again. You're going to add some starter fertilizer and your seed. Um, I would do a little bit of another little drag at the time of planting, maybe if you need to, if it's not loose enough for you, um, to incorporate that into the dirt and get your seed on with it. So I'm going to say spread fertilizer, spread seed at the next point in time.
Okay.
But always have moisture in your forecast.
Okay. I'm gonna go number 5 on my list is prep the soil.
Mm.
So after you've picked a location, done your soil sample, you added the lime, you're getting into the warmer season, weeds are growing, you're spraying, you killed them.
Hmm.
Now we need to prep that soil for the seed. So
Hmm.
after you spray, whether it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, you need to prep that soil. You need to come through, and we like to disc. So
Yep.
you're either mowing those dead weeds down to reduce some of the thatch, so it's easier
Hmm.
to disc. Or if you have a good disc or rototill, whatever it is, you're literally just disking the ground. You're working it up. You're getting that lime mixed in there. Um, you don't have to go super deep. 3-4 inches is
Yeah, that's why I said drag. If you know,
right. Yeah, that works too.
but it depends. Like we were saying before, it depends if you got a brand new plot or you have something that was already established last year.
Yeah,
That's why I
brand
say
new one. Drag's
you're
probably not going to work, but
yeah, you're probably gonna break some ground with the new one.
yeah.
Um,
So disking it up and just kind of incorporating all that dead
yep,
weeds and
yep. Get it mixed up and
uh yeah, lime in there, you'll be good.
mixed up
Um Mixed up like what?
Like Dave
I'm always mixed up.
mixed up.
All right. So that's my number 5. You want to
Okay.
disc that ground,
Yep.
smooth it out with a chain drag or whatever, and
Yep.
then we'll go to the next step. So what's your number 6?
Uh, I I already talked about seeds, but I do that all in one step.
Okay.
I I prep the soil and fertilize and seed at the same time if I'm just in an established plot. But
Mhm.
if I had to break ground like you were just saying, that would be a step before me, and then I would seed now.
Mhm.
But at this point, I'm about out of options because at this point, I just pack up and pray for rain and get out of there.
So
Usually,
you
I'm in the rain.
yeah, you have a history of that.
I have a history of getting stuck in the rain because I
You do.
usually time it too close.
Right.
And yeah,
If not, you do a rain dance
yes, I do
in a blue
because
Smurf suit.
I'm getting wet
All right. So
all
I
the
actually have
time.
two more. I actually have two more steps.
Okay.
So my number 6 is you've dissed this ground, you're ready to seed. But the question comes down to, um, what the heck do you plant,
Mm.
right? So you need to have a plan. So what is the purpose of planting this spring summer food plot? Is it to maybe increase the organic matter in the soil, or just kind of improve the overall soil? Or is it a large enough plot where your deer herd is kind of struggling for food and you're trying to feed them, all spring and summer to kind of increase the tonnage in the area, and all that. So you need to have a choice, and a plan. So, do you go with buckwheat, which is a short growing crop? It matures, pretty quickly. That's good to improve the soil. Or are you going in more of like a clover base to where you kind of want to improve the tonnage in the area, or you're going with annual clovers? Just have a plan. Realize what is the goal of planting this leading into the fall food plot. You know, just have a plan. And then my last step with that is planting with the rain. You pick the seed, and then you want to broadcast it. Try to time it with rain. If it sits there for a day or two or something, it's okay. But the better you can time it, with the rain is good. But it's also with the rain is also the correct timing. A lot of people plant too early. With these spring and summer food plots, most of the seeds like heat. So you have to wait kind of into that, mid-May, end of May time frame to plant. A lot of guys are planting in April and stuff. It's the soil temp's too cold and all that. And if you can time it with some warm soil temps, you're good to go. And you'll have a beautiful food plot.
Yep.
Yep. So that's the end of my checklist.
Yep. I kind of incorporated a couple of mine together there, but
No, that's all right.
yeah, we pretty much had the same answers though.
Yeah, we had one, two. Well, we had 2, 3, and 4 that were the same.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, so that's our checklist. Um, everybody can vote down below, and whoever loses has to buy the other Farmers Inn
Yeah,
buffet
you're. Good thing nobody heard that because you just froze up again.
again.
Yeah.
I said whoever loses has to buy the other one, Farmers Inn buffet.
Nah. Whatever.
That's it. That's the game. That's the game plan.
They're the same. So how can they vote for? Just vote for your favorite co-host. That's all.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go.
That's all. That's all.
Um, so to
Well,
finish
what
this,
else you got?
well, to finish this out, what that was a little game we played. So to finish this out, what is your, let's see, so we're in what, mid March?
Yep.
So between now and, let's say, your planting season. So what do you usually plant, like mid-May?
Well, I've pretty much quit doing spring summer plots.
Okay. So you have no
So
spring plots you're doing this year.
pretty much not. I was gonna frost seed, but now there's no frosting going on.
Hmm.
So I'm just gonna wait a little while
Hmm.
and wait for it to warm up. And right before a rain, I'm gonna spread some clover.
Okay. So let's just say from now until mid-May, because that's when you normally would plant.
Yeah, yeah.
What what kind of prep are you doing for hunting season? Do you have any, like, what is your goals between now and mid-May for for helping you have a better hunting season?
For fall,
Yeah.
my big thing is paying attention to that soil test.
Okay.
And clover, I have already established clover, so I know there's something there and it's working for me already.
Mhm.
So I'm just looking to thicken up some spots. So I am going to put some clover in, some extra clover. Um, but my goal is, like I said, to pay attention to that soil test. And when I get my pH back and my fertilization recommendations back, I will look at that a little closer going into the fall. So my prep then will change in the end of July, beginning of August. My prep will change a little bit to that time frame then. And what I will be doing is uh, checking for weed growth. You gotta prospect your plots. You gotta be out there watching and looking. You don't want something to take over on you while you're not paying attention. So if you need to get that last spray in or something before you plant, you have to have that time too, because there's certain residuals with these sprays. So you want to get that sprayed at least a month before you're going to plan on putting seed out so that you can avoid that residual.
Mhm.
So that's why I say, you know, be prospecting the end of July, beginning of August, because you probably don't want to plant any later than the last of August, in the beginning of September.
Mhm.
So I will be paying attention to weed growth and my soil tests, uh, you know, getting getting that on and making sure that I'm looking good and on point going into the fall.
Okay. And did you do soil samples yet?
I did not, because I just had ice off here at the beginning of the week. Literally, I still had snow on the ground. So, and then I'm trying to do some things around the house here, so I haven't got to it. And it's so wet anyhow that I'm gonna have to dig them and lay it on cardboard and let it dry,
Mhm.
because it is a wet soaking sponge out there right now.
So, remember the day we had to go to the farm, we used a paddle bit?
Yeah,
That was so dumb.
that wa- yeah, but you were 4 hours away and you had to get a soil sample.
I know, we did what we had to do.
I mean, what we really needed was a hammer drill.
I know.
We needed a hammer drill on that paddle bit,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, we hit the farm was it was so frozen, it was so cold. We had a spade and we had to drive to the hardware store and buy a paddle bit to get soil because I drove 4 hours to get soil samples and I was not leaving without it.
Yep,
And
we
they
got him.
worked. I got them. Um,
It had to thaw out first.
no, yeah, that was crazy. Um, so the only thing I got from now until really hunting season is scouting.
Mhm.
I'm gonna do a lot of scouting this year. Um, get some cameras out here in the next 4 weeks. And I got to finish up my consulting. So as I got I got to work on my buddy Nick's property this weekend. Finish him out. It'll be the fourth day I'm working on his property. Then I got three more after that, and I'm done for the year.
Mm.
I got to finish them. My weekends have been busy nonstop.
Mm.
Uh, so that's all I got going on between now and really hunting season. So
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff coming.
yeah, and I plan on doing a lot of fishing coming up. Um,
Yeah, I gotta
I got
fit that in.
yep, I got to get a e-bike up to Chris here soon.
Yep,
Um,
you coming to visit?
May sometime. We got to figure that out, and then that'll lead us through the summer and lead back into hunting season.
Yeah.
So that's all I got on this podcast.
Well, I'm hoping to scout a little bit for turkey,
Yep.
but the only time I can do that is a Saturday or a Sunday morning.
Hmm.
Um, but I've got so much stuff going on. I've got a vehicle I'm trying to get inspected. Uh, got all this springtime prep, trying to get things done around the house here, get stuff ready for plots, try to scout for turkey. Try to fish a little bit. What else? Oh, I got a wedding coming up. Oh boy. And then Dave's coming up. And he'll
Yep.
be buying me Farmers Inn buffet. Because
Yeah.
you're gonna vote your favorite co-host. Ooh.
Here we go. Here we go.
Woo!
Begging for votes.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Podcast 116. We out.
116.
Vote for your favorite checklist.